You're gonna smoke that thing on camera, man?
Are we on camera right now?
We're on camera.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Got you.
All right.
Can I? I'm an adult. This is California. So,
It's legal, right?
yeah, we're good.
It's legal. All right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I still have PTSD from shit like that, but
I feel you.
they used to bust down people's doors and stuff for,
And put people in cages.
Yeah, I think there's still people in cages across America for selling pot. Wow.
Are they trying to
Other
get them
people
out
making
though?
millions. I know. I read this one case about this guy. He was from like Compton or something, but he was sending packs, like big packs, boxes and stuff, back east somewhere, and then he got caught out there. It was some kind of conspiracy or whatever. It's like when you're crossing state lines, it's a lot different and stuff like that. So as far as that goes, I don't think so everyone's case is different. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I guess crossing state lines might be a little bit different, but I did hear that people are trying to get people out of prison though for that.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
It's crazy.
Law in the first place.
I mean, I've been with you. We've been pulled over right down the street. I remember one time we had like hash on us and.
Well, what's crazy is I've had good and bad experiences with that. Like one time we got pulled over and we had a quarter pound and like we showed him our medical cards and the cop was like, "All right, we'll just be safe."
Yeah.
And just sent us on our way.
That was
dude.
cool.
So but I've been pulled over with like a couple grams and then they wanted to fucking one chick wanted to send me to prison for it.
Fuck. That was out of state, right?
What?
Out of state?
Well, I've done the out of state too, but it was actually here in Village Lakes.
Oh shit.
Got pulled over by two cops. One of the cops was super cool. I don't know if they were doing a good cop, bad cop kind of thing, but one the lady cop, she seemed like she had something else kind of. She had like something else that was kind of making her mad. I don't know, in her personal life or something like that. But she was just gung ho on just like she got the biggest drug bust ever.
Really? A couple grams?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, I think I probably had 4 grams.
You straight. She was trying to help you out, huh?
In her mind, maybe, but
I'm gonna save this kid's life and set him straight.
You know what though? I have been scared straight in a way too, where like I did appreciate it. I have been pulled over in Oklahoma and put in jail for it for having about probably a quarter ounce when I moved to Kansas.
Yeah, I remember that.
I probably had a bunch of seeds though. I had a ton of seeds,
Yeah.
a light.
Yeah.
And quarter ounce, and I did have a little bit of hash too.
And you're from California.
California.
With California plates?
The California plates, little 21-year-old kid.
Little dreads.
White boy with a couple dreads going. Yeah. They saw me from a mile away.
I remember Dreadhead Tyler. I remember that.
But cool. He was cool though. The sheriff did come in. They put me in for the night. He came in the next day and was like, "Hey, all right, Tyler, get up, we're going." And so he let me go. He knew I was in trouble, So I was always thankful about that. Like,
well, so that's like always kind of growing up. That was always the thing. It was like a lot of adults were like, "It's not bad. I don't agree that it's bad. Like, but it's against the law." So it's like there's no moral qualm with it. Or problem or whatever, but because the law says it's bad, people are like, "Oh, I can't do it." Because
so then how much do you have to obey the law? I mean, so I used to pull this little one though too. I'll be like, "Well, it's freedom of religion, bro, because like marijuana is like a part of my spiritual, like So I had that little like defense. I thought I was all smart and cool, like.
But all jokes aside, like. I think it's a spiritual sacrament.
It is. I mean,
it has the potential for abuse and stuff like that, and to be exploited in business and all that type of stuff too. But
in
essence, I think that's where the true essence of the plant is at, and the spirit is like not really money and commercialized and mainstream.
I feel that because I've seen it. I have seen firsthand the abuse aspect of it, the recreational abuse aspect. I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it firsthand, and just because of
Where it's
doing dispensary work, like
it's almost like a
people were,
drug,
yeah, dude, people were smoking a quarter of hash a day.
wax and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, just
So I saw that, and it definitely, it was definitely like a eye opener, and I actually felt a little bit bad and guilty, for providing that. And I was like, all right, well, like to each his own, And I was like, but it kind of,
well.
I thought about it a lot about how that
One good thing
the
about
abuse.
it though is it's like, as far as comparing it to other drugs, it's not as bad on your body and your mind and stuff like that. So
That's true.
I think a situation like that, for me personally, I've been down that road too, where it's been abused. I abused it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's where I learned about myself and
Yeah.
addiction and abuse like that. So it's like,
Well,
rather me learning that from tweak versus weed, like, it's like,
yeah, it's almost
it
like a
was
lesser
cool.
of two evils kind of situation. But you're a unique individual, man. I mean, you can you can control yourself a little bit more than the
Yeah.
normal 21-year-old kid. It's like these kids are doing more drugs than just
Yeah.
weed. You know what I'm saying? So, not to say
Well,
it's a
that's what I
gateway
learned
drug.
when I was a kid. It was the first drug that I chose to get into, and it was a choice. I was like, out of all the drugs I've seen people do and get addicted to, is like weed was the coolest one. And like I didn't see people. If anything, it was like they changed for the better. So like
Yeah.
I learned through that because I experimented with it, and then I got addicted, and then I was like, wow. When I ever did try anything else, even alcohol, I was like careful not to get addicted to it. I learned that through weed, though. Kind of is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it definitely does. It teaches you. I think, some drugs aren't teachers.
Right, right, right. right,
Some
right.
drugs are
Exactly.
just like straight
Exactly.
dopamine dump type of like
Exactly.
party, like let's go crazy. But some drugs are kind of more teachers. So
Right.
I think there is a hierarchy of drugs. It's kind
Right.
of like what you're
Definitely,
saying.
she's a plant teacher though,
Yeah.
for sure. In
Yeah,
that, in
yeah.
that category, if you want to categorize her.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I was thinking of though on that subject is like anything. This is kind of what I always kind of like say is that anything that is powerful can be used either for good or evil, or for good or as a weapon. So it can be a builder and a teacher, or it can also be a weapon and a
Right.
destroyer. So like anything that's powerful, like
Right.
nuclear power, or like
Right.
whatever you want to kind of
Like a hammer. You could use it
you
to-
could use it to hurt something,
Right.
or you can build a school for
Right.
underprivileged children in
Right.
a third world country.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it, and I think we need to be realistic about that. So
Definitely.
when I was younger, it was like I was definitely a weed
Yeah.
like advocate, or almost like a weed evangelist.
Yeah. So that's the two sides though. We were battling against that. Kind of.
Yeah.
We used to say making stands with resin glands, that was the motto, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much to learn from weed. Like you said, it's a teacher versus other things, other substances. I mean, I guess it depends on the person when it comes down to it. But for me, cannabis is something special for sure.
Yeah, and that's good, man, because you understand its place. You've been through it. You've been through the addiction, so you kind of have come out on the other side respecting it.
You have to respect it. Though,
Respecting it, bro. Like
So-
that's
It is very powerful, a very powerful substance
you must respect it.
in many different ways, and you have to respect it.
In my experience, when I stop respecting it, or kind of slip into a mode of not respecting
Right.
a substance, that's when it creeps in and kicks my ass.
It almost abuses you in a way. It's like, all right, you're gonna abuse me, I'm gonna abuse you back. Like, kind of.
Totally. Totally. I mean, and that brings up another thing too, of just like the plant consciousness. It does have its own consciousness, and I do think that consuming plant-based drugs, you're merging consciousness with
Right.
that plant essence,
Yeah.
or that plant consciousness.
I want to just dig into that just a little bit as far as the consciousness and the essence, I guess, if you will. But and plants, like you said, plant-based plants.
Mhm.
Man, they're these solar beings that, you know, they're cosmic. They interact with the sun, and you know, photosynthesis. They absorb the energy from the sun and create food. So to me, it's like you're consuming the sun as well, and kind of like the cosmic stuff that comes with that.
So so what I'm thinking in my head is, okay, well, what is consciousness though? You know what I mean? Like, so that's one of the biggest issues right now, just like in science and philosophy, and for us to define what it really is, and we don't know where it comes from too. So it's like that's one of the really tough issues of like what is consciousness. And so people kind of see plants as these like, yeah, they grow, but they don't think, so they don't have souls or something, you know, kind of like mentality.
Right.
But it's like consciousness is like more like reacting. I think
Being aware,
being aware and reacting to your environment, and I do think just because something doesn't have a brain, that it doesn't have value, as much value as
awareness. Just because it doesn't have a brain and a nervous system that we think as humans. So humans, we tend to see the world through human perspective, obviously, right?
Unfortunately,
it's natural, right?
We're locked in
but
there.
We actually have the capability. Maybe other animals do too. I don't know. But as far as I know, humans, we can try to put ourselves in other awarenesses. Like we could try to be like, what would it be like to be a fish and live under the ocean all day long, or a bird and fly in the sky, and stuff like that.
Well, and that brings up a kind of another problem, which is related to the consciousness issue, is that you can never really get outside of your own consciousness or outside of your own perspective. I mean, you can try, or you can get close, but you can never really.
Well, what you can do is develop it more, as far as exposing it to more things, so your filter becomes a spectrum, more broad. You're more open-minded.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, okay, so open-mindedness. It seems that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Like, it seems like open-mindedness is this like it is a virtue almost in our culture. Like, people want to be open-minded, right? So should we be open-minded to every idea?
It could be dangerous.
Yeah, and are people, that's kind of what I'm tripping on lately, is like, how open-minded are people?
Well, when I think about being open-minded, it's more about trying to understand we're trying to understand their understanding, where they're coming from.
That's
as
hard
far
to
as
do
like,
sometimes.
no, yeah, it's super hard, but I think that's what we need to do as humans.
So yeah,
because
I mean,
we're not all gonna agree. We all see, like you said, through our own filter. So like, you can grow up in a whole society or culture, and they see that certain way, so that's gonna have an effect on your filter and how you see the world, your worldview. But it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. So like, it's hard to explain, I guess. But it could even go down to just taste in music and food.
More
like,
subjective kind of like stuff
what you're
like.
exposed to.
Well,
it shapes your filter.
Yeah, agreed. I was gonna say,
that's what I mean about being open-minded, to try to like understand where other people come from, as far as, I don't know, what could I use for an example, like open relationships or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's something that I wouldn't do personally.
Right. But you could maybe understand why somebody would maybe like, okay, it sounds free love and it sounds cool, but then you could also imagine what comes along with it, a bunch of other crazy, stupid drama and shit.
Yeah, like, totally.
So like, that was one crazy example. But or weed, for instance, like we grew up out here in California. Go back to the weed, it's just because it was at the table already. But yeah, it's normal for us to just smoke, and like. So in other places it's draconian, or other places in the world, people are fucking probably getting their hands chopped off and stuff like that still.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about. Well, and I think it's to make nature illegal seems unnatural. or I can't remember the quote, but it's like, it's unnatural to make nature illegal.
Wait a minute. How
do you trying to say?
No, I get you. It's like funny.
Yeah, it's like, why? I don't know. But I understand though. I really, especially when I was younger, and I've been talking about this a lot with my partner. It's like being younger at a younger age. You're more like, fuck the system. I
Yeah.
can do whatever I want, and like I make
Rebellious.
and I make the rules and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I'm trying to see the purpose for like
Structure.
laws and structure and rules and
Same here.
shit, like with kids and like they need structure, they
Definitely.
need rules. It's not, it
But
can't.
I think in a young age, it's good you brought that up. I think because I think that's when you do explore your boundaries and you do explore, like for us, we were smoking pot and everyone was telling us not to, and we had to go beyond that and explore and
Yeah,
find for ourselves what was right or wrong for us and
yeah,
why, question it. And I think as youth, that's who we need to depend on as a society to push those types of boundaries and to address those things, because as you naturally progress, as you get older, you
mm-hmm.
lose the fight, like the fight in you, not like you lose the fight. You become
Mm-hmm.
more strategic with the fight, like what you're
Okay,
trying to achieve and accomplish. But you become more strategic, but you don't. You lose less of the like the. I mean,
like the
the
rebellious nature
just like wanting to rebel and like just go, just have your own, or just willing to fight heads up
okay,
with the against, like the system, if you will, or whatever
mm-hmm.
your ideology or model you're trying to break down or
Yeah,
you don't agree with,
yeah,
because that's when you're coming out of your parents telling you what to do,
yeah,
and you're getting your own worldview, your own experiences shape how
and
you
your
are,
own
and your own ideas.
identity.
No matter what your parents or society, your teachers, whatever, planted into you. As we get older, like 14, 15, we're like exploring things,
Mm-hmm.
we're experimenting and we're trying to figure out the world. And a lot of the things that we're told, especially in our generation, like, well, I think we started to break away from that, but it's just we're realizing like we're being fed a lot of Kool-Aid, if you will. Like,
Yes.
so
So, well, okay. What do you mean though? Kool-Aid. Please enhance on that or
well, I
unpack
just
that.
actually learned this whole thing. Like, I always knew what it meant as far as like it's just drinking like bullshit.
Yeah.
But I guess there's actually a real story it came from.
Yeah.
Do you know
Like a
it?
cult
Right,
drank
like
the
what was
cyanide in
it?
a Kool-Aid or something like
Yeah, I
that
didn't
because
know
they
that.
thought
So I'm
there
like, oh,
was.
I get it now for sure. I get it.
So I think it's because they thought there was like a spaceship behind the Hale Bop
That's what it was, right? That's crazy,
I
bro.
think so. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. No, you're right. And I think it was like close to 1,000, like over 100 people or
so
something crazy.
so a little tangent is something that I've been thinking about too is like the hypnosis of people. So like people, there's certain individuals that have the ability to hypnotize others, and there's other people that are more suggestible. So I think there's like this mass hypnosis that's going on with a lot of different things, but that's just something that's been really kind of tripping me out is that people are like programmable, and so like with those cults or something like that, or to bring it back with kids and stuff too, it's like how much do you, I guess this is my question, is how much do you let the kids make their own decisions, and how much do you mold them, like kind of like like honing them and like whittling them
Right.
into.
That's a great question. My daughter's like 11, and I'm not with her mom, obviously, so it's like split up. But she's good. Like I mean, it's interesting to see how she's gonna come into her womanhood, as a
Mhm.
young woman, young lady.
11.
Yeah. So, and then me and her mom are different. So, that's a good question as far as like the balance between letting them just be their own person and figuring things out, and like having a short leash or a looser leash,
Hmm.
longer leash versus a shorter leash, and trying to, I don't know. So me personally, I kind of had like, I don't know, like I understand the shorter leash, but in my life, things kind of went, in just my home life, things kind of went a way where I just had a longer leash.
Well, I think the
So
leash is getting a little shorter as times change. That just from what I've seen,
yeah, yeah, I think you're
like when
right.
we were kids, it's like
Kids are
I would
just
just go when I
right.
was 9, dude. Like I was out, I was out riding my bike or skateboard
All
all
day.
day.
It was
No cell
normal.
phones. Yeah, yeah. So,
I see what you're saying.
but I'm not necessarily saying like, oh yeah, just let them like do
Yeah.
whatever because times are different or something. But I don't know. I mean, so but kind of just to come back to my thing is like, how much do you like kind of control their consciousness in a way? Like,
Well,
you
that's
can't just let them just run wild,
Yeah.
or I don't know, maybe you can, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but I am concerned about that.
Well, I mean, that's a trip too. You kind of brought it up earlier too, and it's about the kids. But like we can have them on a short leash. We could have them right here in the next room. But nowadays they have access to this thing called the internet, and they can reach all ends of the world like that. So how far is the leash? You kind of said it's shorter, but how it's actually became a
It's
lot
longer
farther
in a different way.
So and you brought that up as far as devices nowadays and like the kids and stuff like that. It's horrible. And like I've been utilizing social media and stuff like that to try to just build my network and stuff like that, and
And to have a voice.
collaborate and to have a voice and like stuff like that. And I like to just share my journey. People have been enjoying it, and it encouraged me to keep going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it fucking fucks my brain up. Like
Yeah.
my eyes and like
Oh,
my fucking
physically.
like yeah, like
Yeah.
I sometimes I spend too much time on it, and like
Yeah,
I'll
I
try to
feel-
look around at the real world and my eyes are like fucked up, or like
And then you
it's
have to
weird. I
adjust.
get like this weird. It's like a brain fry almost when I'm on it too much. And
But
shit.
it's addicting.
It's
in a
super
way.
addicting too. Yeah.
But you're also an adult though, and so you can like I think you
Be aware of it and check
and you
myself.
can moderate.
And so when
The kids
when
can't moderate
yeah, and
that.
so, but we also have adults that are addicted to it, raising kids.
Yeah.
So we have adults that are more responsible and regulate the usage and the time on
Yeah.
it and the access to certain things or whatnot. And then there's also adults that just it's like a daycare, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, it's like
here.
well, it's so much easier to, and this is easy for me to say because I'm not a parent because I know how tough it is to be a
Yeah.
parent. I'm not trying to belittle that, but it's so much easier to just put them in front of the iPad
Yeah.
than to actually play board games and to actually
Right.
keep them, because it's a full-time job to keep them like
and even in this
interested.
day where we're at home, we're stuck in this COVID
Yes.
era, we're stuck at home, and we're still not I'm guilty of it. I'm not as active as I should be maybe, and go buy a board game and play
Yeah.
board games and Scrabble and like
Yeah.
be interactive with
Yeah.
our children. That's what we need. I think like when you're talking about the balance of letting kids be what they want or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing is like interacting with kids. I have this kind of picture as far as like raising kids. I think I don't like school systems that much, and I think I think kids need to be raised in more real world environments from a young age. Meaning like
Yeah.
like traditionally say we were craftsmen or we had certain jobs, and you would take your kid with you and they would learn that type of stuff. They would see
more of a
their
trade.
dad negotiating to buy raw goods to make whatever they make. If they're a craftsman with fabric,
Yeah.
they'll buy raw fabric and then sew it
they're
and
a
sell it.
butcher or farmer or
yeah,
whatever.
a guy, they'll buy raw metal and then fortify it and all that stuff and
Well,
sell swords or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So but like kids are watching that from a very young age. And I think that's real world type of things where we're sending kids off to school and they're learning stuff they're never going to use, and they're kind of getting, a lot of kids are getting lost in the whole,
They're
I don't
getting
know how to
lost
explain
in
it,
the
but
sauce,
in the system,
Yeah.
like
Well, so I agree with you, but I'm trying so hard to see another perspective lately, and it's so when I try to see a different perspective, one thing I do like about the school system, because I feel like we could sit here and bash the school system
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
but I do want to stick up for the school system in this way. It does expose them to different subjects, not
Right.
necessarily ideas, but different subjects. So it's like, who knows what your kid
Right.
will excel at? I mean, if that's that is one of the drawbacks of being like, well, my dad's a doctor, so I'm going to be a doctor, you know,
Yeah.
or like my dad's a farmer and I work on the farm, and so
Right,
I'm a
right,
farmer
right,
too,
right.
and then my kid's going to be a farmer,
Right,
and
right.
his kid's going to be a farmer. So, but who
John.
knows like what they will be into, and so it is cool that they do get exposed to like science, they do get exposed to like different languages, they do get exposed to somewhat different ideas, they do have a little bit of
Definitely.
vocational stuff. Like when I was in high school, we had criminology,
Right.
and
What was his name? I had him
Von
too.
Pingle,
Yeah, dude.
Mr. Von
That
Pingle,
was the
man.
man, ex-cop, right?
Yep.
He was cool as fuck, though.
And I'm pretty sure he was what's it called when you can like read minds?
It's telepathic.
I think he was
For
telepathic
sure,
too.
dude.
He was, but you know, we had like auto shop, we had, and that's where
Mr.
that's
Ramirez?
where the yep. So that's what I liked personally a little bit more than
Yeah,
say, like,
hands-on.
math type stuff.
So
you
there's
know?
different types of learners and
Yeah.
I think I hate to bash it and I don't mean to, and I guess I should start looking. I'm trying to start looking at everything and like more good and like try
Like
to figure out the
optimistic.
good things. Yeah, not try to just bash everything, talk shit about everything, because that's too easy.
Oh well,
That's
we
too
got
easy.
a
I
lot
want to
of
give
that
credit,
going on.
and it's not a person I want to be.
Yeah.
It's not the energy I want to put out and practice, and it's not the air that I want to waste
Yes.
or use.
Yeah.
I'd rather use my voice differently, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm learning
dude.
that right now. Actually,
Yeah.
it's making more sense in my head right now.
Like optimism is contagious too. So I don't know.
So
But that's,
honestly, I
I'm
appreciate
trying.
that about you though, because you sometimes you kind of check me, not in like a direct way, but you're like, hold up a second, like let's not. You don't join the bashing parade, and like sometimes
It's
It's
easy.
easy, and then it's a waste of energy. We just get all hot and like
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, because I do want people to see me and my like
right.
convictions and
Right.
my ideas. I want people to give them the right, at least the right, to see their or to see things my way a little bit. So it's like, I have to do that. If whatever you want in return, you have to give.
Right,
you know?
right, right.
So
You
that's
put that energy out there.
Yeah, so it's like I think we do get sucked in. I've been seeing it a lot lately, like just with everything, especially like politics and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's like
I'm guilty.
people just get stuck and sucked in, and like and so I've been trying so hard to just see the other side of
That's what I was trying to say.
and
like,
it's hard
hard.
sometimes.
It's hard.
It's
Well,
hard.
I think it comes down to how we actually interact and put our ideas out there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, especially on Facebook, if you go on Facebook, it's like everyone's looking for a fight almost. It's like they put themselves out there. I
Yes.
probably do it myself. I know I do sometimes, I guess. I don't necessarily look for a fight, but I like to instigate shit. I like to provoke thought.
Yeah.
And, I like
Yeah.
to go against
And I
the
understand what
grain.
you're doing.
So
I understand it.
I don't want to turn anybody away from me and other messages that I have to say. So I try not to be too open and political about my own personal views, but I do like to touch on certain things that, especially if it's a topic that's occurring in the moment,
Like
you know what I mean?
relevant. Yeah, relevant.
Relevant. Yeah. So
Well,
I'll try to touch on it and just let my piece out there. But like Facebook, I hate it. I like this platform right here. This is the best platform as far as
well, because
it's free.
nobody's like commenting yet, so we can say what we want right now. We got a little control at the moment.
And there's so much more that happens in communication. I'm looking at you. We're making eye contact. We have the tone of voice. We have gestures.
Yes.
That's how humans communicate.
And we can test ideas too, as opposed to like, I don't know. It's like say like a post or something, like a Facebook post or Instagram post. It's like, this is the idea, and it hits
Right.
you in the face, and then it like kind of it tests the consciousness of like, okay, it seeps in a different way as opposed to actually having a conversation about it, and then it goes into comments, and it's like, and it's tough. Even like me and you see eye to eye on almost everything, and even on the comments, it's it's like, how are we not hitting?
I think it's designed that way.
Yeah, you think?
I fucking think so.
It's divisive.
I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, there might be a design there. That's the next That's the next topic for sure.
AI and shit like that. Technology itself.
Or an evil plan too with
Conspiracies?
through AI. You know, like I mean, it's designed that
Are we
way
on
to be
that
divisive.
subject right now?
Well, hey,
How did we get here? Hey, we're here though. I think we live in it though.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no way around it anymore, dude. Like,
yeah. Well, all right. Let me
See-
check. Let me check the cameras real quick.
Can we get some water?
What were we talking about?
Conspiracy.
Oh, we gonna go in on the conspiracy theories now.
I don't know. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I think we're
Go.
living in it. I think we're living in it, dude. George Orwell, I guess. I never read the book, but I've heard all about it.
George Orwell.
1984, right? Or is that the one?
I
Or
mean,
the Pale White Horse? One of those.
I've heard of
Or
what
he's
you're
called.
talking about.
He just talks about Big Brother and stuff, and like the fucking all-seeing eye, and fucking just being kind of like he predicts a lot of things that are going on right now with you know, society and how governments and bureaucracies and societies or whatever are like. It's kinda
Well,
crazy.
let's read it. Let's read it right now on air, Instagram Live.
Did you see my little Instagram video with the Asian kid? And he's like, or something like
What?
that. He
No.
like has this book and it's in front of him, and they're in class. They're like all sitting at their desk, and this kid's like absorbing the information like
Really?
this or
Really?
something like
Okay,
that.
I like it.
It's
I
cool.
like it.
But I wish we could read books like that, or like J5. Remember Johnny Five?
No,
Oh, you never watched that movie?
it sounds familiar.
There's a little robot, and he used to read books like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Well, that is something I did want to talk to you about is like books and the
I love
role of books. I
Yeah,
love books
me
too,
too.
dude. Like, and I feel like people are talking more than they're reading right now.
Problem, huh?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it probably is, don't you think? I mean, like, books are kind of going away. I mean, you know, even with Kindles and audiobooks and just like
It's not the same.
snippets and Wikipedia and shit. Like,
It's good. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a digital world. Everything's becoming digitized. But for me personally, the experience is not the same. The takeaway for me is not the same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like looking at screens all day. It fucks my eyes up. And
yeah, I
don't know.
Dude, me too.
my
man.
homie's like, I like the smell of books. I'm
Me
like,
too.
fuck,
I
dude.
almost said
I
that
was
too.
like, you're right, dude.
That's it. If that's the only reason why I buy a book.
It's like if they
it
could figure
smells
out how
good.
to fucking make the phone smell like a book or like a weed one day, they'll be like, whatever you're looking at probably smells like that.
Yeah. Well,
Until
it's
they figure
crazy.
that out. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all. That's all it comes
Yeah,
down
it's
to is
a-
to smell it. That's
the
how I
smell.
absorb knowledge nowadays. Is just smell it, smell it into my brain.
That's part of like
Well,
how we learn and understand the world around
experience,
us.
though, right?
Smelling stuff.
It's the
But-
experience, the whole experience.
Yeah,
of it,
definitely.
You know.
I like books a lot, and having a collection of them is cool too.
Yeah. Well, do you think there will ever be a time where there are no books in the
I
world?
hope not. That'd be scary.
I mean, yeah, well, I feel like people are gonna be like, "Stop cutting down trees," because
We could-
printing books kills
we can-
trees.
It's true.
I mean,
Well, we're smart enough to fucking bypass the trees and do other things now. That's the
Like-
problem with our
Yeah.
whole world.
yeah,
We're smart. We
Yeah.
have the technology. We have the resources.
well, and
We
yeah,
can fix a lot of things just using science and technology.
yeah.
And
Well, hemp
The thing-
too. Like,
exactly.
Like, I mean, you probably even know more about it than I do, but it's like the hemp you can grow a whole field in 1 year and probably produce more fiber and paper than say cutting down a forest. That takes
oh yeah, I
100
think it's like
years
4
to-
times as much per acre.
Yeah.
Like an acre of hemp produces as much as or 4 times as much as like an acre of like
like a
a
forest.
old growth forest, though,
Yes.
like 500-year-old
Yeah,
forest.
yeah. So it
These are
takes 500
these are
years.
ecosystems that
Yeah.
have been building for 500 years.
Yeah.
And we're going around destroying them.
Yes.
No, the fucking shitty part about it, pun intended, and it's a shitty ass joke. But a lot of it's getting cut down for toilet paper.
Dude, that's
That's the
all
shitty
right.
part.
Let's go in on the toilet paper situation. All right. This is my biggest issue. No, but that's how the toilet paper thing. So I feel like that's how, not to get too hippy dippy, eco friendly, like
No, let's go.
like, but that's how we treat the world. Is we
Yeah,
cut it
like
down and
trash.
we
Like
wipe
shit.
our ass with it.
Wipe our
and
ass with it. That's
flush it
literal
down the
though.
toilet and never
That's
even
not a
keep-
metaphor.
Yes,
That's literal.
yes.
We're
Well, I
destroying.
think it's both, but yeah.
But the scary part is it's literal too.
Yes, dog.
And then
Yes.
we're dumping it in the ocean like it's a fucking toilet.
So
too.
I've been thinking about getting a bidet,
yeah.
you know, and kind of
That's how they
limiting
do it
my.
in Vietnam. When I went there, it's
Really?
like a lot of I'm American, so I was like, "Where's the toilet paper at?" But
Yeah.
there were places where there was no toilet paper. My
Yeah.
dad, he grew up in Vietnam in a village with no shoes and shit like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
no
yeah.
electricity, no running water, straight huts, village type shit.
Yeah.
And he's used to I grew up him telling me stories about using leaves and shit like that. So that's the type of mindset
Depending
I
on
grew
the
up.
leaf you use,
Exactly.
it might be better.
Exactly.
or
There's some
worse.
right here up in Forest Falls. It's called lamb's ear,
Yes.
dude. It's like so soft. I'm like, that's like better than angel soft. Like, if shit goes down, I know where the fuck to get some toilet paper.
It's
Like,
the lamb's
we gotta
ear.
grow that. I'm gonna be the man when that happens. I'm gonna have lamb's ear on deck
deck.
for everybody.
Oh,
Like, I'm
dude.
gonna be the man.
I saw a meme the other day and it was like, I'm still mad at y'all for the way you acted with the toilet paper.
I am too. I think it was kind of a reflection of how we in America, I mean, just as humans, I guess we kind of overreact. I don't know. This whole situation is kind of crazy. I kind of don't want to get into it, but yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Go.
I'm kind of scared. Nah,
Go.
it's just too. I don't know where to start. I don't know.
Well,
Well, back to like the whole thing is like overreacting. I think we overreacted about the toilet paper. I
Well-
think this is all kind of an overreaction on the real. I mean, I think there's too much obscurity within the facts. Like, there's no actual factual data that's clear. It's all obscure. It's all fucking. No one really fucking knows what the fuck's going on. So that makes me question things right off the bat and not believe anything, especially after so long. At first, I had a little moment where I was shook. I was scared. I didn't want to get fucking sick and die and shit like that.
you have
but,
people you care about and love.
yeah,
too.
but now it's kind of like going too far almost, dude. I think it's just bullshit, honestly, to say it simply.
Well,
And I know it's real.
Yeah.
The fucking virus itself. I know people that have been sick. I met a girl last week. She said it wasn't. The flu was worse.
Yeah.
Everyone's case is different. I know other people that have been hospitalized, but I don't know. I think they hospitalize people just to quarantine them and all that stuff. But
Well,
It's been a
the
shit
tough
show
part is like
from
the
the jump,
misinformation,
Yeah.
and then how data. Not only, I can't even be sure that I'm getting the right data and the right numbers on the
Yeah,
first
that's the
first of all,
problem.
and then second of all, it seems like you can spin the data.
Mhm.
So like, one of my favorite speakers is like, science doesn't tell us things, scientists do.
Right.
So it's like, look, like science
how
is
is it
data.
presented?
Yeah, science is data, and then it's interpreted through a certain lens
Interpreted.
or through a certain perspective. And so, depending on what you're
Could be-
trying to
it could
say,
be
you can
biases.
you can spin it or leave out certain numbers. You
Right.
know, and so
Manipulate data all day long. Yeah.
there's so much misinformation that I am like you just said. I don't even know what.
My head's on a
believe.
swivel. That's why I'm getting more upset about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like my head being on a swivel like that. I like to know what the fuck's going on around me and shit like that. And
Yeah.
I feel like we're all being played. So, like, that's even making me more angry because it's making me kind of concerned, honestly.
Well, I'm getting caught in this like better safe than sorry type of
That
mentality.
too, yeah.
which I'm okay with. It's like, I don't.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like I should try to take the precautions to make sure that I'm healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but how far do we go with that? That's the
but
thing.
that's how far, like, exactly, because, like, being too sterile is not good either. Like,
Yeah.
and we're focusing on kind of some of the wrong things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, we should be focusing on how to naturally boost our immunity and how to naturally help us defend against these type of invasions.
So we
On
talked about the toilet paper, and it's like all the toilet paper's gone,
Yeah.
but then there's like all the shelves of vitamins and supplements and like things like that are all full. It's like, wait,
Yeah,
what?
that was crazy when all that the toilet paper and the food, everyone started hoarding food and shit like that too,
Yeah.
and all types of hygiene shit
is
like
kinda
that.
fucked
And it's
up,
kind of crazy. Yeah, that's another. It was another reflection of how we are
Yes,
as humans. Like how,
eye-opener.
like people were fighting over shit. People, like we're just hoarding and then trying to upsell it, like sell it, or trying to like make money off of
That's
it.
like
A lot of
profiteering
money.
on
Yeah.
an emergency situation. I saw just for example, I just wanted to say real quick on that is I saw a cannabis company who will remain unnamed. They were selling like 2-ounce bottles of hand sanitizer
Yeah.
for $8
Yeah.
because it said their name on it, and
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm
oh
not
my
with that.
god, y'all!
I love business. I study that shit. It's like a game. It's fun. I'm realizing more and more. It's just a fucking game. But
Yeah.
money itself is a fucking game.
Yeah,
So you just gotta learn the rules and shit. But I don't like that type of bottom line is just the money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. There's a triple bottom line. That's what they say now in business. It's like triple bottom line. It's like good for humanity.
Okay.
Fucking I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all kind of just a sales pitch too. A lot of that shit's fake as fuck. I'm all about grassroots movements.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm about.
So what's your movement? How do I sign
Fucking-
on?
You
what do you want me to
you're
do?
enrolled.
Yeah, all
Are
right.
you speaking for the people? I mean, the time will come. Whatever. I'm still working a lot behind the scenes. I'm trying to make a lot of different things happen. Sometimes I'm scattered, but I think in the long run it's gonna be better. And I got people like I'm getting to help me. Well, we're collaborating. It's not about what I got going on. It's about what we got going on. You know what I mean? It's like what are we
Yes.
doing together?
It's teamwork.
Because our value increases when we increase each other's. If I increase your value, my value increases, back and forth. But and then if you bring that into a network, it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's too much competition where people feel other people as a threat. As far as like, if you're in the same sector of a industry, people want to corner the industry and fucking be top dog and shit like that. Where it's like,
Well, so I do understand like the good aspects of competition though.
right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it does breed great like
Right.
competition. I'm not a competitive person, but competition does breed greatness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it does
It
push
pushes
each other
the envelope,
to the
yeah.
next level. You know,
Right,
kind
definitely.
of thing.
Is that one on?
We're
Alright,
rolling.
We're rolling. I'm on right here too. So
Uh-oh. We're live. But, so competition does breed greatness. I do feel, I do see that. But again, it comes back to that anything that's powerful can be used for, or can
Right.
become good or bad,
Right.
or evil, good or evil kind of thing, or used as a weapon.
black
kind of thing.
magic, white magic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
energy itself, yeah, any type of
so I feel the competition, but I feel what you're saying though. It's like, why see each other as a threat, though?
Or why try to be the only one when you can work with people together?
It seems like it seems like kind of like a culture of like
Is it greed?
jealousy.
People don't want to break up the break the bread and like split the pie.
I think there's that, and then also just jealousy too. Like people don't want to see somebody else. Sometimes don't want to see somebody else doing something better. So
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of that kind of just hater mentality, but I also see a lot of
it's,
good.
I think it's conditioned into our culture.
Yeah.
Capitalism, the capitalistic model is like, I don't know.
Well, people are definitely hating on the capitalist model right now. But I'm trying to see another way. What's the alternative?
I think people need to be more capitalistic in a way. Certain people,
Yeah.
and see, the thing about it is like the whole design of it is like a free market, right? You could kind of take it
Yes.
to the top. You could take it as far as you want.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I
and
like
anyone could do it theoretically.
Well, I like the idea of having a free market because it kind of has that natural competition
Yeah,
that does
that
breed that
breeds
better products or
right,
better services or
right,
better
ingenuity,
yeah,
innovation,
yeah.
right.
So we do push each
Totally.
other. So I don't know. I think what the trap that I see is going on right now is the trap is that we're trying to demonize things too much instead of seeing like
Right.
them as they are.
Right.
Like it's like capitalism is evil, or like we just keep pulling things out, being, and I don't. That's just my
But
kind
I
of
think more
opinion about it.
people
But
need to be more entrepreneurs and like try to work for themselves.
hmm
And we yeah. I don't like corporations.
like big, well, and that's the thing. I'm super bummed because a lot of like small businesses are hurting right now. But then you have like Google, Amazon, like and big companies like that, or like online shopping with like Best Buy or whatever, and then they're like thriving right now, and those are the people that are like really kind of taking advantage, I think, more
Yeah.
than say like more of the small businesses. And small business, I mean, small
So
businesses are going to be
so
closing.
it comes down to like what kind of commodities are they selling?
Yeah.
And like right now there's so many commodities that are cheap
hmm
as far as like anything nowadays really. Like if you're talking about big corporations like Target or Walmart or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like nowadays shit's so cheap and there's so much of
Bec-
it. We're talking about like we're just even recording stuff nowadays.
yes.
And because most of it comes from China, you know?
Yeah, that's
And
true.
so like that's one thing about those corporations I don't like. They fuck up the small businesses because
hmm
they have that it's like playing poker. They have that bank, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
so they can afford
They have the
to.
weight to throw around. They can undercut people and just make pennies on the dollar or whatever.
Yeah, I feel you.
And just basically suffocate the small businesses and then they end up all the people end up going to buy there. But
Okay.
essentially we're sending money to China for these shitty ass products, and that's the thing too. The design now is where America used to have a lot of our own things that were made in America. That was
Yes.
what would like
Yes.
if it branded and it said made in America, you know, it was the shit, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Still.
yeah, and we kind of went away from that. We stopped being craftsmen and
hmm
making our own shit, kind of,
hmm
and everything became more of a corporate model and doing like I said, Chinese shit that's real cheap. It's all
hmm
about profit margins and shit, but then it's also about having obsolete products where they break and then you have to buy more of it.
Yeah,
Like
planned
traditionally,
obsolescence.
planned obsolete. Yeah, exactly. So American products didn't used to be like that. Like Craftsman, you know, used to have like lifetime warrant, or it still does, but
It's
now
still.
they actually recently changed to it's like all made in China. It's gone
Oh,
down, but
really?
it's all because like we just need to be smarter with where we're spending our money. Like we think we're doing good by saving money and shit like that, like buying
hmm
cheap shit
hmm
and getting it from China, but we're
hmm
not doing our economy good.
Yeah,
And
I
I would
agree.
like to see more people be producing shit, and so I would like to support them, like people that make like leather
I
goods or
agree.
like shoes
I
or
agree.
like clothes
I
or like
agree.
kitchen knives or like
Yeah,
furniture or
especially
like
everyday shit.
I don't want to buy no IKEA shit and
Yeah.
support IKEA. Where the fuck is that from?
hmm
What the fuck is that?
hmm
Like especially right now, like we need to be worry about our economy and keep the money in house
Yeah.
and support each other and pay a little bit more for a superior product. You know?
Yeah. Well, so I do see that happening, but I also see another aspect though too of like, so what's coming to my mind is, say, like when it comes to like beer, craft beer versus
Right.
like mass produced like beer.
Yeah.
The Miller, the
Corona,
Coors,
Budweiser,
the Budweisers, Anheuser-Busch, and so, but then you have like Ballast Point or Goose Island,
craft.
or you have those really those craft breweries where it's like they still are thriving.
Right.
I
I
think
love
Ballast
that.
Point
That's
like
what I
was
love
sold for like
about
$1 billion.
the beer
Or,
industry. They're doing that's why I love that.
so I think there is still, and I think about it with cannabis though
Mhm.
too, because cannabis is interesting and is in a very it's in a flux state right now.
Oh yeah.
Cannabis is because
It's not
because
stable at all.
everybody's trying to become, a lot of them are trying to become the Miller or the
The
Coors
cookies.
or yeah, like
Jungle
Cookies
Boys.
is trying to become.
But look at the Medmans
that.
and the other ones that are
Oh.
giants that are just like they didn't even
They're-
make it
they're
out. They
crumbling,
started
huh?
tripping over their feet right off the line, the starting
Yeah.
line.
Well,
so
but,
like
so as this goes, people are going to the consumer's going to get more educated. They're
Right.
going to have they're
That's-
going to get more exposed.
that's what needs to be done.
And so I
first
think
and
that it's
foremost.
going to get divided in the same way
Right.
that beer
Oh, yeah,
is. That's my
definitely.
prediction. you
Definitely,
know?
there's
So,
going to be commercial and then craft. for
craft.
sure.
Absolutely.
And so me as a craft person myself, that's my thing. I'm glad you touched on that because that's what I always try to tell people is like we need to educate the consumer.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
who dictates the market.
Yeah.
And if you're a person like me doesn't like to see commercial bullshit weed
Mm-hmm.
grown mass productive just for money, get it in, get it out,
Mm-hmm.
fucking make that money. I don't like that shit. Spray this, spray that. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'd rather see some craft shit where I know somebody's running around with dreads in their farm and fucking their kids
Loving
are there.
on it.
Their kids are there,
Yeah.
and it's a lifestyle that I'm trying to support. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We gotta be smart with how we're spending our money. Like economics is a real thing. I used to not really like money. I used to kind of
think it was evil.
in a way, but like it is. But then it's like you said, anything else you could. It's good or
power.
bad. So like, I mean. To me, it's like a game, so I want to try to get in there and try to
Yeah.
just change things. And
I just don't want to fall into the trap of like finding a bad guy and demonizing it.
but we do need to recognize the problems.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the enemies, quote unquote,
yeah, yeah.
or the
Yeah.
opposition, but or the roadblocks. We do need to be aware of those.
So it's a tool, like money, I see money as a tool,
Right.
and I think a lot of people see it as more like a playground or a battlefield, whereas I see it as more just like it's a tool, and so you can use it in different ways, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so,
Well,
but
we need to be smarter. I feel like
I feel you, dude.
even with like
I feel you.
our cell phones are the same way. They're tools that can be used for good and bad, and you can start $1 million companies just from your cell phones. Like teenagers have been doing it all across the United States
Devices
with like less than $1,000, probably no money almost.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
devices issue, like, isn't that? I feel like
But
that's such
it's-
a big issue. Like, just to touch on what we were talking about earlier,
Something
the
we need
devices.
to learn how to co-evolve with, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna go away. AI and stuff and like technology. That's definitely a topic we as humans need to come to terms with and try to figure out the best we can. The sooner the better, too. I don't know, because I don't know.
No, well, I feel you, but I mean, brings us to another kind of sensitive topic is like this just kind of like the voices are being taken away. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's like kind of
But-
risky to say things right now. And we don't have like a kind of a public forum for things like, we don't have an open forum
That's why
for
we need to
discussion.
That's why we need to hit it as hard as we can right now, and hopefully it starts a wave that they can't take down. Like me and my homie were just talking about, like what if they start shutting down like the internet and fucking Instagram and shit like that. I don't know. I allow my mind to go that far sometimes and think crazy shit because shit's crazy right now, bro. Like I used to always kind of just entertain the conspiracy theories just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just go down rabbit holes
Okay.
sometimes, but
So
since COVID and all this crazy shit and BLM and all that stuff, there's another topic, it's like, but I don't know, man, it's kind of crazy.
Well, so the conspiracy thing, though, is one thing about conspiracies is that it's easy for people to blow it off because it's like
and they want to dismiss it like, oh, you're a conspiracy.
Oh, this is a
theorist.
conspiracy,
I'm like,
and it's like,
I'm like,
well,
don't do that to me, dude.
Well, just
Like,
listen to the facts,
Just
dude.
entertain the idea. Like, Nazi
Yeah.
Germany wasn't too long ago. How did that happen? How
Yeah.
did the fuck did Hitler and all his
Lies.
regime convince everybody to let that happen?
Lies. That's
That
how
was
that happened.
huge.
Is lies. I mean,
I've been meaning to study it a little bit myself. I've seen little shit here and there on memes and shit, and it's like, it's kind of scary to see what's going on.
yeah. Well, and it's good.
They're
It's good to
forcing us
study
to
that.
stay home. They're forcing us to fucking. They're not letting us work. They're making us depend on the government. Be, in that manner, they're not letting us work, so we have to claim unemployment. We have to
Yeah.
depend on them for that.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy too is how much they're giving though too. I mean, I'm personally
They're
am
giving?
getting like decent amount of. I'm getting a
Yeah,
decent
but
amount, but
where's it coming from? They're printing it.
yeah, that's true.
That's a problem.
That's true. That's true. I didn't
It's
think of
fiat
that.
currency.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
It's
printing.
It has no standard.
It's not backed by anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing to back it up. It's just paper. And
But
so,
it's
like,
but just for
it has
me personally
strong-
though,
because people
I'm
believe
buying
in
tools though.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it's like
No.
but I agree. I
It
know
does.
what you're
It has
saying.
the strong. It's like the strongest dollar in the world currency right now. I'm pretty sure.
The dollar is.
The dollar, U.S. dollar, yeah. So like it does have its weight, hold its weight right now, but people
Mm-hmm.
are believing in it less. So the fact that people believe in it now because it's been historically like strong,
Mm-hmm.
and like people are like, yeah, I want U.S. dollars, but it's changing because of COVID and all this. It's changing. So like people are hoarding gold. Like it's crazy,
Yeah.
dude. It's crazy, like to see like. And now we're kind of going in a cashless society too. You could see that coming, right? They're using COVID as that, but maybe it's true too. It's just gonna stop the spread of COVID. But like I see it as just tracking. Everything goes digital. They're gonna be able to track and trace it a lot easier.
Would you prefer?
And it's almost like the mark of the beast, if you will.
Okay.
It's
Would you
like
prefer though?
you have to have a digital.
analog like currencies.
No, it's like, well, no, I don't know. I think of a variety of different currencies works good. Like, yeah, let's go digital. Let's go dollars if you want to play with dollars and gold. They say gold and
and then
silver is God's
crypto.
money.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like that's why that's it's not even people think you invest in gold, but you don't invest in gold. Like it's not something that you're gonna flip and make a bunch of money on.
No.
Really, it's something that it's an insurance policy. Like if shit
It
hits a
holds
fan,
its
it holds its
value.
value. Gold,
through
guns,
millenniums.
yeah, and certain things hold their value, but
Okay.
so like people need to be educated on economy and think and business and stuff like that, because we've been duped and we've been led to believe that like becoming a company man is a safe thing, but there's crazy shit going on within that too. Like they're taking the pensions. Like Wall Street is taking people's pensions that they've worked for their whole lives. That's supposed to be a savings at the end of their life when they're old and they're supposed to fucking retire and fucking enjoy the rest of their life because they worked their fucking whole life, and then they're coming up with no pensions and shit, and like Wall Street's taking it, getting bailed out. Like there's so much crazy shit going on, dude. Like with banks and Wall Street and fucking, and it affects all of us, but.
Well,
I think that's why I like grassroots. I want to encourage people to learn more about that and try to, educate themselves about that. We need to worry about our own local economies more and keeping our economies. That's why with weed, for example, say like back in the day, not too many people around here grew weed. Like, so like
in California, is that what you mean? Or
in Southern California, in our region, you have to mainly grow indoors. You can grow outdoors, but mainly like it's a lot easier, especially back in the day. It was it was more of a crime. The law was after a lot more, so you had to hide it more. So
yeah.
so basically, what I'm saying was like we used to say for us, for instance, like where we're from in our region in Inland Empire, we would get most of our weed from up north.
Yes.
So like Humboldt County, northern the Emerald Triangle,
Yeah.
they were very like wealthy, pretty good at one point. Like they were making
Millions and
good
millions and
millions, dude.
millions
Like
of dollars.
some cats, millions. So like we were basically giving them all their money. Since then, we've been growing in garages, we've been growing in warehouses. That money's been staying here,
Yes.
and I've seen
Well,
it. I've seen it,
yeah.
and like I've been a part of it. So like, to me, that's what like we need to do with everything.
Okay.
We need to try to produce our own
Take
things
it
and
back.
support keep the money in our own circle.
Yeah.
And support me and you.
Yeah.
And if I start growing something, it's like, hey, like don't, and you should even probably pay more maybe. Like, you know, for say if you make a garment for me, I'm like,
Yes.
man, this is dope handmade. Like,
Well,
if there's more value in it.
well,
So
I have a
like,
friend though. I have a friend, and he's like, dude, like, I want to support my local shops and stuff, but the problem is that I'll go online and see the same thing for $400 cheaper, and it's like, dude, I
Yeah.
want to support you, but then I go online, it's like
$400? Like what?
yeah, if it's like a $2,000, like say like a camera or something.
Oh.
So and it's like it's $2,000, but on
Yeah.
here at your shop, but it's like it's 1,600 online with free shipping. And they give
But-
me like little fucking perk, little package and little things.
But
So
it's
it's like,
all about where's the end money end up.
yeah, I mean,
That's what we got to be smart about.
yeah, yeah. It's just too easy, is what I'm saying. It's too easy to kind of like
Yeah.
to spend it outside of your circle, especially when it comes to like tech. Because we can't produce tech. Sure, I
Yeah.
can produce a garment for you.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah,
I can
yeah.
grow some medicine for you.
Yeah.
Sure, I
Definitely.
can brew some beer at my house, but I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
make it. I cannot
Yeah,
make
yeah,
a
definitely.
computer for you.
Yeah. Even a
so-
mouse.
Yeah, yeah, I can't even
Computer
do that.
mouse,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can't even fucking make a computer mouse.
Yeah. No, I
Much
got
less-
you.
So I do hear what you're saying, and I'm not trying to disagree. I'm just trying to think, it's like,
I think it's like something that we need to apply more.
but where you can keep
where
it,
we can, yeah.
then you should.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to food, probably that's probably a big one.
Yeah.
The food.
And then there's more reasons behind that too, because just the actual quality of the food and knowing where it came from and knowing how it's produced, but also just supporting like the people, like the support.
Of your community.
Yeah, with your dollars.
Yeah.
But I would also like to see more of just bartering and shit like that too. I think that's where like resources come in. Like what kind of
Yeah.
resources can we produce ourselves? Especially look at just what is going on right now. I mean, I don't know. Who knows how long this shit's gonna be? Everyone has a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, you
People-
might as well use that time to educate yourself, like, or maybe not educate yourself, but to be researching.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I do get caught in these cycles of like more just like mindless entertainment, or like sometimes if I'm just like, especially with like quarantine, I'm just like, all right, I worked a bunch, on my own production or my own, photography and music and stuff, and then I'm like, I'm just done.
No,
And so I go into these like I don't want to say depression, but a depressive state of like non-productivity.
I do the same type of thing
And then I'm
sometimes.
like, fuck it,
yeah.
bro. Like I just want to have some beers and watch TV.
Yeah.
And then I jump back in. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, now I'm reading
I think
books
that's
and shit,
important.
like listening to other people
Yeah.
to speak, listening to podcasts, YouTubing,
Yeah.
which can be fucking,
A
which
little
can be
fresher
dangerous.
though too.
But yeah, I mean, using the time to educate or do your own research and stuff like that, especially about economics. Like I'm definitely more interested in it, but at the same time, I'm sitting over here like, God, I wish I knew more.
Yeah.
Because I can't speak on something that I don't know too
Yeah.
much about. But that's why I do like having like kind of a circle of friends where it's like, all right, well, my friend did a bunch of research in this area.
Yeah.
And then he can save me some time.
Definitely.
Like I've done
even that type of stuff. That to me is like maybe you could call it the
That's-
information economy. You
Yeah,
know what
currency.
I mean? Like that.
Currency.
Something like that. Like I think we needed. That's why I've been trying to use the Instagram more and stuff like that.
Well, it was funny you said that. Just to kind of tangent into a different kind of subject or topic is like when it comes to like concentrate production. Like I actually am a little bit, and I feel guilty about this, but I am a little bit protective and hesitant to share my information. And I feel bad about that because I think that, it's like, yeah, we should all share.
You're
But-
like tricks of the trade. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I worked my ass off, to get there, and I don't want to just give away my like secrets or my, my knowledge. I
Yeah.
don't want to just give it away because I think it's worth something.
Yeah.
I'm willing
I
to share some things,
Right. I
but
think you
what do you
should
think?
be able to. You should make it an effort to provide some stuff, but not
Yeah,
everything.
but not
You
everything.
don't
Yeah,
want to fucking give them your ace up your sleeve, but
yeah,
you do become more of an authority in the matter
hmm,
if you can teach people. But not only that, it's not about being an authority of the matter, but it's like getting that trust. Like
hmm,
people trust you, like, oh, he kind of knows what he's talking about, or it's like, oh, he taught me this. I learned that from him, and I used it, and it worked.
hmm,
And then they can trust you to ask for more information, and then you become that guy.
yeah,
And then they'll talk about you like, oh, I know
yeah,
a guy. He like if they need a professional, maybe it's not them that you were interacting with, but they will speak about you.
yeah,
And then, like they used to say word of mouth a lot,
yeah.
and that's
Well, I see the value in that too, of well, because like information products are really big right now. So like creating a book or creating tutorials, creating like say
it's
like
like how to's.
yeah, like a how to channel on YouTube or something like that. Like that stuff like information products are really big right now, but at the same time, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I'm just kind of like mystical about some of my
Yeah,
knowledge of, especially when it just comes to like hash and growing,
yeah,
and it's like I- I'm not just gonna just tell you
yeah.
how. Do you
No,
know what
that's
I
cool
mean? Like,
because
am I
it's like
selfish though?
no, no,
Is it kind
no.
of my?
That's it's your style. I wouldn't say it's not about being selfish or not. It's your style, and it's up to you to do whatever you want to do with what you've learned and how like you went out and had to search for it and like
Hmm.
work for it. So like you're
Trial and
like
error and time and R&D.
and it's almost like an initiation though. If
Okay.
that's how I kind of look at it, it's like, well, if you want to be this person and you want to do this thing,
Hmm.
cameraman,
Hmm.
if you want to be a cameraman or whatever.
Hmm.
Sorry for the lack of fucking terminology, but you got me.
You got it. You got it.
Photography, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
You have to do the time and
not
research. Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, and then it's applying it. That's only half the battle is gaining the information. It's
yeah,
up to you to apply it. Oh, there's so much information out there, and then again, like there's. I mean, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but there's a lot of information out there already, so like
that's true.
somebody else might be giving it out, but it's like, well, then you got to go find it. To me,
Yeah.
it's like it's more of a proverbial story type of thing where like the master's like, man, you don't even deserve this shit, like not yet. You can't just come in and then
Yes.
this took me like years and years of a lot of hard work, but within that process is where is the
Yeah.
actual gem, the
Yeah.
actual,
Is the process.
takeaway is the process. So
Yeah.
you
Well,
can even give someone the information and they're not like I said, they might not even use it. They
or
it's
use
about
it
applying
properly.
it
Apply it.
or
Yeah.
yeah, it's more about the process though, about failing
Well,
and
so
fucking finding out or
yeah.
your style. Maybe it just doesn't work for your setup. So like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one thing one of my secrets is like what works for one grower might not work for
Oh
another
yeah.
grower.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Everyone
So to
has their
sit
own
here and
style.
like try and be like, yeah, this is what you need with the ppms and the pH and this, and it's
I
like,
think
dude,
that's all across the board with
you
just
can't.
everybody in the world. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
yeah,
just America or well, I don't want to bash on America, but I know I don't know. Maybe it's just people, individual people too. But yeah, I don't know.
well, I just don't want to be selfish, I guess, is kind of what I'm coming through, and I just like, all right, well, okay, well, it kind of brings up another subject or topic to me is like the mentor mentee relationship or the teacher like master
Yeah,
student
yeah,
relationship, like kind of what you were saying, like, well, when it comes to school, we're kind of like getting rid of that, like, like your father or your family was a like expert blacksmith or some shit,
Yeah.
you know, like back in the day or something in the 1800s. But now we have kind of like gotten rid of that sacred mentor relationship, and like you're saying, like you can't just come into a Brazilian jiu-jitsu dojo and start doing, you know, black belt submission techniques. You know,
Yeah.
you have to, and it's maybe, and even if you do learn the black belt submission techniques, you, if somebody were to teach you those black belt submission techniques, you lost all the time and effort and work and like everything to
Yeah.
get to that point. You
Yeah.
can't just get, there are no shortcuts to being an
Yeah.
expert at something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
And it's also about like the initiation and being inducted.
yeah.
And for that instance, like for me, it's like you don't just get good at the move you're talking about. What'd you say? Whether any type of move, like a whatever
black belt submission technique.
Yeah. So like you have to practice it.
Yeah.
So you have to have a group of people to practice it with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
Especially
theory and
when
then
it
there's
comes to that.
practice.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
true.
it's more about
Application.
that application. Yeah. So you know, it's not about just obtaining the information. It's about like finding someone to go through the process with too,
Mm-hmm.
and like going through the process itself. But
That's true.
I mean, and then like having a pack too.
Like
Having different people to train with is a whole nother thing too.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a pack, you go to a gym,
That's true.
and you know, there's different people that have different techniques and different freaking energy and strength, and so like
Or speed. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
There's definitely different variables to like, especially when it comes to martial arts. There's so many different variables of a different person, like, you know, the flexibility of a person or the speed of a person, the power, the strength, the hand-eye coordination and reflexes and stuff like that.
So I think it's like the interaction that, you know, on the journey.
Yeah.
It's like you have to
Is
interact.
the
It's like
juice.
a video
That
game.
is
It's
the
like a
sauce that-
role-playing video game, you know, like
Yeah.
Zelda or like Mario Brothers or something, where like you meet certain people on the path, and then
Yeah.
like
That,
Like-
and that's kind of a mythological.
and you gain alliances and stuff like that. You
and
know,
that's like
I like that.
that's like ancient mythology, like
Yeah.
mythological motifs.
But it's
that-
real though.
Yeah.
Like that's how humans operate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
That's
you can't
the story.
just join the club. You have to be initiated.
Yeah.
And that's a part of being a master.
Yes.
Is finding that group.
Yeah,
Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes you have to go to the mountain by yourself. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course,
But yeah.
of course. Well, I mean, it
But
depends on what
even
you're trying
Jesus,
to learn. Right?
Jesus did both. You know, he went off to the mountains a lot by himself, meditate and stuff. And
Yes,
but he
sir.
also had a crew. You know.
Well, and he wasn't afraid to speak up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well. So another thing about the master learner kind of like teacher learner relationship dynamic is, I think that a true master, what I've been learning is like a true master is still learning too.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know, like it's that's the mentality of a learner mentality.
Fuck yeah.
Like a master is a master learner.
Yes.
You know, like they
Always
mastered learning.
till the end,
Yes.
till his last breath.
Yeah.
He's
That's
probably still learning. Like, oh shit,
yeah. To the
it all makes sense. And then dies.
You still don't know it all, like, but yeah, I don't know. So that's one thing that I've been trying to keep in mind. You know, is like just we were talking earlier about just being young and kind of being rebellious and thinking you know it all, and you gotta like make up your own like moral compass or your own values and kind of like stuff like that. Well, when it comes into stuff like this, it's like, okay, you're still learning, you
Yeah.
know, and still looking for answers, and it's a mentality.
Or even just
you
learning
know?
about yourself. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to focus on is like, I don't know. We change, so like you constantly have to learn about yourself as you change.
If you're a progressive person, for sure.
True.
You know, some people don't change,
That's true.
unfortunately.
Huh.
Some people don't be changing,
Yeah.
bro. I don't know.
Yeah. True.
I mean, for better or worse. You
Well,
know,
like
God
even
bless
just
them,
for
but
instance, like your body as you grow older
Mhm.
and shit like that, you need to
That is
understand
true.
your body. That's
That-
one
that's true.
example. But like
That's true.
mentally, yeah, some people don't change, I guess, which is sad because it's like people want to hold on to their ideas so firmly sometimes, but it's like
Yeah.
if you have the same thought process from when you're 20 years old or 25 and then 5 years later you kind of still have the same thought process, it was kind of a waste of time to me, because you should be changing, you should be forming and learning your mind, because the world's also changing simultaneously. So
Yeah.
like you have to be changing with the world, I
So
think,
your thoughts and
especially in
ideology
the world
has
we
to
live in
be.
today.
It has to be. It has to at least be moldable.
Right,
You know,
and
it doesn't.
adaptable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has to at least be moldable. It doesn't necessarily have to change, because I do think that truth. I do personally think that
it's
truth
like
is
absolute
objective. I do think there are, like, something
absolute
is true.
truths.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
to say something isn't, or to say that there is no truth in and of itself is an objective truth claim. So therefore, it's self-refuting. So that in and of itself proves to us that objective truth does exist. We that's like kind of the starting point. So I do think some things don't change,
yeah.
objective things, but when it comes to more like your perspective, your mindset, or your body, like you said,
Yeah.
or like your profession, or like things like that, it definitely does change. It should
Yeah.
be able to change or be moldable. Kind of like the chopping block idea. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think of it as like it's being honed into.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, yeah,
put an
definitely.
idea on the
Definitely.
chopping block, and let's
Yeah.
hone it down and see what it looks like
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a more refined way of putting it, because the chopping block sounds kind of crazy, I guess. It's like a
Or
butcher block, but like, yeah, no, definitely it's more of like
that's the way I saw it.
trying to like trying to form something, you have like a raw pieces of whatever as is, the way it is,
And then to refine
in
it.
that moment, and then try to come up with something different, maybe that fits whatever I'm trying to do, like
So
remold it and try to redo
yeah.
it.
Well, I feel like and then there's also the just like chopping it up
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
like
colloquialism
yeah,
of just talking.
it's like we're just chopping it up.
Yeah.
A lot of my
I
friends
like that.
like to say, let's chop
Yeah,
it up.
yeah,
That
yeah.
means let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk.
Let's talk. What have you been up to?
Yeah.
Let's chop it up.
So, but I like the idea of the idea molder, or like I like the idea of like let's bring in concepts and ideas and
right,
try and like
right.
dissect it or
Yeah.
probe at it and see
Yeah.
if it works or
Also, it's
doesn't.
kind of like, I guess if you look it up, and traditionally the metaphor they're saying comes from like the executioner's block, like when people get their heads cut off, like for certain things. But it's not that drastic. But it's like it basically is saying like, and it's for everyone. It's like let's put everything on the chopping block,
Yes.
and cut off its head. As far as idolizing certain things,
Yeah.
and let's like break it down and take it to its raw form, and then build it up from there, and
Or-
see how it stays or see how it
A
changes.
bad idea. All right, it's not holding up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the process. It's like a crucible. You're
Okay.
refining something. It's like when you're refining metals, you're making metals. You got to take out the dredge or whatever. It's like you have to apply that.
I like that.
It's like the chopping block. It doesn't sound fun. It's not fun. It's not gonna be fun. That's
No,
the point.
it's
Like
uncomfortable and it hurts.
we're putting everything on the chopping block.
Yes.
Everything's welcome to be chopped up and figured out and dissected, and
Yes.
figure out the different components and pieces of it, and see how we can maybe reconstruct it better.
Yeah.
And then get rid of what we don't need. So like when you if you eat meat or you vegetables, you put it on a chopping block and you cut away the stuff you don't need.
Yes.
And you keep what you do need. And then you go from there and work
then
with
you
it.
have like and
Yeah.
you have a proper diet.
Or it's like the crucible idea. You're refining, you're getting rid of what you
Or-
don't need.
Or like a diamond being formed
Yeah,
intense pressure.
that's kind of the same idea. The crucible, the diamond. It's like
I want clarity
it's
here.
right, and we're willing to put it on the chopping block, and we're willing to bring it to the
Well,
chopping block, and we're willing to get our hands dirty and our, you know,
If you're not willing though, if your idea
we're not gonna
is
push it.
unable, but if you're unwilling to put your ideas on to the chopping block, then how strong is it, or how like
Right,
comfortable are you?
exactly.
You know, like your ideas and your beliefs and your convictions or values, they need to be able to be tested and probed.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
Exactly.
I mean, that's
So
how I
yeah,
feel
I
about
mean,
it.
it has a lot of entendres, I guess, or a lot of meaning that you could. It's
Yeah.
wordplay.
I
So
like it. I like
I don't
it.
know, it just came to me, and you liked it.
Oh,
It's popular vote right now. I'm going with. We're going with it. It's official. So
It's official right now.
It's official.
Well, I mean,
I'm
there's
getting a little
something-
block and stuff. It's supposed to be coming on its way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the proverbial or the
I'm
literal.
gonna be breaking weed up on it
Oh, okay.
mainly.
All right.
That's why it's cool too, because I'm gonna just break weed up on it mainly.
Okay, I like
That's
it.
gonna be kind of the theme of the show. If you indulge yourself, you know, we can partake, and we
In
can
the
commune.
weed, do I have
We
to
could
smoke the
commune
weed,
together, or is that the right word?
What?
Like
Partake or
what is like the sacrament? Like, you know, like what is it?
I mean, you're just talking about like the the ritual of
Yeah,
like
what's it
communion.
called? Yeah. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Kind of.
Well, I mean, weed is tight, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I don't know why it's just not my thing anymore. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, it's not for everybody, but
Yeah. Well, okay.
I admire that. I think I wish I could do a lot better if I didn't, but I mean, as far as like handling things and getting things done, like in the world, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, okay. What does it do for you now?
Man, I mean, I've been kind of depending on it for so long,
Yeah?
since I was, adolescent. So as of
Depending
right now,
on-
yeah, like using it every day, and like if I didn't have, I would say dependent. Yeah, if I didn't have it, all types of functions would be different. My eating habits, sleeping habits. Sounds weird, but I meant like just
Yeah.
like routine stuff, food. Like I
Okay.
wouldn't be hungry because I needed weed to be hungry.
Yeah.
I was so dependent on it in my metabolism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like my sleeping habits would get fucked, even still now, or like just emotional.
Do you get cranky? Would you
yeah,
get
yeah,
cranky?
yeah, for sure.
I used to get irritable.
Yeah,
Like,
like mood swings and shit. And like, yeah.
I need to walk away for a minute because people
Yeah.
people are
I
bothering
need smoke.
me and shit. Yeah, I need
But and then I don't know.
Well, hey man, I mean, as long as it's doing something positive for your life, I mean, I'm definitely not trying to
Yeah,
say
no,
anything negative about it, but
I think I could kind of control it more. I think. But
oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, I would like to try more, add more structure and control it a little bit more.
I mean, if it's not a problem though, dude, don't worry about it. I mean, in my,
Yeah.
From advice from a friend, if it's not a
Well-
fucking problem, don't worry about it.
But my dilemma is like, man, I feel like if I did stop, I could just be like more of a laser focus and like get a lot of shit more handled. But I think I would be a
it's gonna
dick
be
more.
it's gonna be a change in consciousness though. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
like I was thinking about it when you were talking about it. I was thinking about it, but I was trying to figure out a way to like kind of like articulate it. But I was high. I was stoned for so long, for so many years.
Yeah.
That when I stopped smoking, it was like it was a high of its own.
Right,
Or
I
not
know.
a high, but it was a
No, I've
it was a head
experienced that.
change.
Yeah, I know.
Of its own.
Yeah.
Not being high. And
Yeah.
so I was like, but I liked it though, So
Yeah.
it was like, it was almost just like a head change is what I like.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
yeah.
being high.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
just the mind change.
Being
of
sober was
itself.
like being high.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been there. I
So-
mean, I've had my waves. Like I've had moments where I stopped for long periods of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
stuff like
I
that.
remember last
Different
time I
little
was
periods
visiting,
or
yeah.
like where I'm not really smoking, but I don't know. Overall, I feel like if I balance it out better, it's a good thing. But yeah.
But I think you're wise enough and old enough to to be able to know what's good for you and not. I've seen. I feel like sometimes I think you're wise. So you're like, oh well, maybe it is a problem.
Yeah, at
You
least I
know,
can.
so you're like kind of
Yeah,
cautious about
yeah,
it. You know, which is
yeah.
in and of
Or like,
itself
could
means
I? I'm always thinking like, could I make myself better somehow? So how do I
yeah.
do that?
You're always striving.
I try.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I mean, I don't know. I want I want to say a lot of things are against me. It's just that things weren't really set up for me necessarily. Maybe I mean I don't want to say it like that either, but like I don't know. I got
Yeah.
lost in the mix in a lot of different things. So like I feel like it's up to me to make my situation better. And if it's like weed's kind of holding me back, it's like I'm questioning that, you know. So that's
Well, but just the very fact that you're questioning it
Yeah.
means that it's not a problem.
yeah.
That do you
I
know
do
what I'm
keep it in
saying?
check. Yeah.
So like I went through maybe I told you about this, but I went through a little issue for a little bit where I was like, man, am I being like egotistical? Am I being like self like centered? Like and
Well,
I
I
was
see what you're
worried.
saying.
And I was worried that I was like kind of like
You just want to be in your own world and like
or maybe I was just like so I was like coming off in the wrong way with other people of like almost like I know it all or kind of thing. And so I was like worried about being oh god, there's a word that I'm trying to think of um but it's basically like egotistical and so I was or
arrogant a little
arrogant.
bit.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
I mean,
Hey, I've been trying to tell you this for years, Ty.
no. No, I know what
No,
you're saying though.
but
You don't want to come off
arrogance
that way.
versus confidence. And so I was like studying. I was like really worried. I was worried. I was like, "Fuck, am I being arrogant? Am I being arrogant? I don't want to be arrogant, you know." And so then I did a bunch of research on it for like a week. I was like, "Okay, what's the difference between arrogance and confidence?" And I watched a bunch of videos and a bunch of Kanye West videos came up. And I watched all this stuff, and it was like it came down to it was like, look, like if you're willing to listen, if you're open-minded,
Yeah.
you know, then
Yeah.
then you're confident as
Confident.
opposed to arrogant.
And
If
you're-
you're always trying to speak over people and be
Yeah.
the loudest person in the room and you're closed-minded,
Right.
then you're arrogant.
Yeah.
And
There's
so
a difference. And I think you do need to be confident in your own ideas and stuff, but not like super confident where you're like saying like you're
closed-minded. or
closed-minded and like you think other people are like inferior in thought and intelligence because you disagree with them. That's
Yeah.
people pull
Yeah.
that real quick. Like you don't
Yeah.
agree with me, you're a dumbass. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
something. You must
Like
be, yeah.
like we can't even talk about this.
well,
Like
so, yeah, totally.
Can we talk about it?
But to just finish my thing though is I was like, all right, bro, the very fact that you're worried about being arrogant.
Yeah,
means
yeah,
that
no, I
you're
got
not
you.
arrogant, you know. And I was like,
Yeah, no, I
okay,
like to
all
talk
I'm
about it, though,
chilling, you know,
sometimes.
like I was like, all right, I'm not arrogant. Maybe dancing on the line here and there, but yeah, like what did you say though? You said people are kind of like really easily going into the you don't agree with me, therefore you're not as educated or enlightened or woke as me,
Yeah.
or something. And
It's
I'm
like devaluing other people's being, really.
Yeah.
And because you guys don't agree on a certain topic, that's
well,
not intelligent.
what's tripping me out is everybody thinks they're right.
Yeah.
And so everybody thinks they're fucking right. And so it's like everybody's just like thinks that the other side is insane. And it's like how the hell do we meet in the middle on that specifically? We all
can't
think
pull
we're
the
right.
fucking dummy card and just insult people and call them names. That's childish.
Yeah.
That's 5th grade. Like, oh, he likes fucking yellow, so
Yeah.
he's gay or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you convince all the other kids he's gay because he likes yellow.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
this is.
That's
I-
a lot
I mean,
of that's going on right now. But
It's
you're right.
it's just people are like, you don't fit into my idea of the world and my taste, so you're fucking stupid and your shit's whack. And like that's kind of the attitude.
Well, and then the problem is
That's arrogance.
yeah.
confidence
And
in your own self
close-mindedness.
is like you're confident in what you like and why you like it. Especially as a person
Well,
like you,
yeah.
you go into things and the nuances of things. You're a nuanced guy, so like you're gonna have a reason why you like it. You're not just like I like it because fucking everybody else likes it. Basically,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like that's how a lot of people are.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So I was thinking about kind of like relating back to the chopping block is it's like, look, man, like if your idea isn't able to be tested or your value system isn't able to be tested,
Yeah.
then like
Like
what's is it really as solid?
and if it comes back to like you're saying being confident. If you're confident and confidence always isn't like putting yourself out there like that. It's just like you can be reserved as fuck and be confident.
Yeah, that's
And so
true
like
actually. Yeah.
but back to like the substance and how substantial your point of view is, like if you're not willing to go into the heat of the battle and like prove it, or like into the crucible, whatever metaphor you want to use, if it's not going to stand up to the trials and tribulations of the real world, then you got a problem. There's a hole in your ship.
Well, and is that, like, is it worth holding?
You want to know where the holes in your ship are too,
Yeah.
though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, is it worth holding?
Is the idea
is this-
or the value worth holding if
Right.
it can't stand up to scrutiny or
Right.
criticism?
And you have to be willing to take an honest evaluation of yourself and your ideology and your lifestyle, and be like, you know, is what's serving me, what's not, like, or is there holes in it? Like, look at it like objectively, try to take yourself out of it, or look at the other side of it, go all the way to the other side of it, and find the opposition. And
that's how you
and-
can strengthen your.
Yes,
how you can
that's
strengthen
exactly
your position, too, is-
exactly.
But okay, so one of my main philosophies though in my life is that I will follow I'm on a truth quest, by the way. So I will follow the evidence where it leads, even if it puts me in a position that I don't want to be.
Right.
Even if it leads me to a conclusion that I don't
That's
necessarily
courage. You're
like.
courageous. Yeah, that's the chopping block, I guess.
You feel me? Like,
Yeah.
even if I don't
If
like
you-
that position,
yeah.
if the evidence leads there,
Right.
I'm there. You know?
If you're a scientist, you have to prove your shit.
Yes.
Mathematicians, in school, prove your work.
Yeah.
Like, you have to prove it. You can't just have you can't have an opinion.
Or blanket assertions with
yeah.
no proof.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but one of my favorite philosophers or speakers, he says, like, look, most people are on a happiness quest, not a truth quest. So I feel like that's why I'm missing, just on a personal level, bro, I'm having a really hard time connecting with this world right now, with my fellow people, because I feel like we're just ships passing in the night, because we're on two different fucking quests, dog. Like, I'm totally just trying to find the truth, and I
agree.
feel like everybody else is just trying
Ignorance
to be
is
happy.
bliss boat.
Yeah.
That's the boat they're on.
Yes.
And you're on some fucking walking through the desert barefoot shit.
Some ascetic, like,
Shout out to your
mystic wisdom wherever.
Shout out to your song.
Oh,
You know what song I'm
which
talking about?
one?
Dang, it's the hardest song.
The Wise Men
Yeah.
Adventures.
Yeah. we gotta show the people that song. That song's sick.
But so, I guess to kind of finish my point on that is that whenever I have asked people, like, what is the meaning of life? What is the point of life? Well, I'm just trying to be happy. I
Yeah.
just want to be happy,
Yeah,
man.
as long as
like-
you're happy, right?
And this
it
happiness
makes you
is this
happy.
lie, bro. That's
What is
this,
happiness?
It's this lie. It's just a feeling that comes and goes.
Is that what life is supposed to be?
Well, here's the trick. Here's the lie.
That-
Here's the deception, brother. Is that you can't stay there.
No.
So people are they're shooting at something.
It's
that
like a
doesn't
wave
exist.
that comes and goes.
Yes. Yes.
Like if you're at the beach and you see this wave, name that one happiness.
And then
Because
it's gone.
Yeah, and then the other ones are sadness.
So
Same thing with sadness though too, right?
so it
Hopefully, like,
leads to emptiness though, because if you're shooting at a target that doesn't exist,
yeah,
or well, okay, maybe it exists, but it's not a permanent position. And so that's kind of what I've been like kind of
yeah,
tripping on, is people are like shooting at something that doesn't exist. And I think there's like these lies, sorry to go on a little
no,
sermon
go
here,
ahead.
but there's these lies that sound good
Yeah,
in our society. Like these, it's stuff like, happiness is, or ignorance is bliss, or like, little
yeah,
things like that, that it's
yeah.
these
As
little
long as you're
lies
happy,
that
like,
sound good though.
yeah,
So, or like, for example, one of those, the lies that sounds good, is, so if you ask a parent, um, what are you trying to do as a parent? What are you trying to do as a parent? And most parents will be like, look, I'm just trying to raise good
yeah,
kids. I'm just doing my best to raise good kids. And that sounds right on the surface. But there's a problem, is they should be trying to raise good adults.
right. I always say that, dude. That's one of my things. I swear to God, I'm
But it's
like,
a
I'm not
lie.
raising a child. I'm raising a
Yes.
child to be an adult. We're supposed to be raising adults. We're
Yes.
not. Raising a child means this person grows up and is still a child. You're raising
Yeah.
a child.
Yes. So
Think
we have a
about that.
ton of those.
Yeah.
We have a ton of those.
Oh yeah.
We have a ton of these lies that are
Like,
masquerading as these things that we
I
kind
like
of like
that.
live our lives by, and it's that happiness is the goal kind of shit, that's like that
Yeah, I don't buy
I
into
see.
that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's like, all right, well, this car makes me happy, this house makes me happy,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it's
And then it goes
fleeting.
away
Like you
so
said, it's the
quick.
ship in the night or whatever. It's like a fleeting moment, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many
Well,
stories out there. People gain it, and then they sacrifice, they jump through hoops and all that shit.
mhm.
They get it,
Mhm.
lie, steal, cheat, whatever they gotta do, and then it's just not worth it. Or I don't know.
Well, I know there's a lot of famous people, rich and famous people, that, or like, I guess I'll put it this way. Jim Carrey has a quote, and
Yeah,
he's like, I wish everyone would become rich and famous and get everything
and,
that they want, so they could
they
realize that
know.
that's
Yeah,
not the answer.
yeah.
And I'm like, exactly. Oh, everything you want,
But
everything
then
you
there's those
need
pleasure
is,
monkeys like Joe Rogan talks about that just want to hit the pleasure button all day
yeah,
long. If they could
the
just have a pleasure
dopamine
money,
dump.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like those fools will just be broke. If they win the lottery, they'll just be broke, and then they'll have
No matter
habits,
how
and
much
their
money
and
it is,
their
huh?
fucking bodies are fucked up from drugs and alcohol, and they're
Yeah.
drained. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's different situations. You know what I mean? So like,
Well,
that's what I see. A lot of people think that they want to follow that happy trail, and then beer makes them happy, and
yeah.
drugs make them happy. But
Yeah.
is it real happiness that is
Yeah.
real? That like
Yeah.
is like real like sustainable or like
Sustaining
like yeah
meaning though.
like
So when I ask people, a lot of times I've asked people like, okay, what's your goal in life? What's the meaning of life? What's your goal in life? And most people will be like, just be happy, man. I'm just trying to like,
live
find a
life.
girl and like have kids and just,
Yeah.
just be happy. And then I'm like, okay, because I asked a bunch of people because I was just curious, and just in general, I want to see what people would say. And so then I've had a couple people ask me, well, what do you think? And I was like, I just want to create something meaningful. That's my goal in life, is to create something meaningful.
That's what we're missing.
So then so then I'm on a new adventure, is what is meaningful? You feel me? So it's like, so now I'm on a whole new trip.
I follow this guy Seth Rogen. He talks about doing work that matters.
Seth,
So it's
Seth Godin. Yeah,
Godin,
yeah,
So it's like doing work that matters. He's big on that.
yeah.
So like, but what matters, kind of, I guess, right?
Well, it can be subjective. What matters to you might not matter to somebody else. Or what's meaningful to me might not be meaningful to my buddy Kyle. So, it, it, but that's kind of what I've just been kind of tripping on the last couple years, just on a personal level. Like, it's just, I feel I'm having a hard time connecting with my fellow people because of that fundamental disconnect in basically like a worldview.
I agree. And I think it comes down to I have this philosophy kind of that goes behind that, and it's kind of based off this book that I read. It's called Beyond Civilization, but it was dope by Daniel Quinn, but it talks about basically how he used to work for a newspaper, and they used to, it's like a crew, and then he likens it to like a circus, and like how the circus comes together. There's different acts, and then there's the guy that's actually running the circus, that's like selling tickets and stuff like that. Everyone has their role, you know. There's a gymnast guy, and then there's the guy that like has the lions, and then there's the guy that throws
trapeze
knives.
artist.
But they all come together and have this show, so like they're a family in a way, or a tribe.
It's tribe, yeah.
So I think that's what we're kind of missing in our lives. We're missing that tribal workflow, but for its purpose, for one meaning.
I like
Like-
okay. Well, I was thinking about tribalism earlier though, because I figured it would come up between us. So I hear exactly what you're saying, and I really like the way you put it. Is tribal workflow.
Yeah.
So as opposed to like a complete tribal society, I think one of the lies that sounds right that we've been kind of like fed is this noble savage theory.
Yeah.
This tribalism is like this more perfect, like
Yeah.
butterflies and rainbows.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
You know, before the white
I
man
used to
came
believe
over
that,
to
too.
this country, they were all
But there's
peaceful.
truth in it, but
They were all peaceful,
Yeah.
just Indians smoking weed on the hill. And it's like, no, actually, it was a very brutal lifestyle.
Yeah.
There was a lot of war. There was a
Yeah.
lot of genocide. There was a lot of territorialism.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like rape and murder and all
Yeah.
kinds, and you name it.
yeah, the
And-
healthcare
and-
wasn't good.
and a lot
quality
of like
life.
evil
But-
spiritism
Yeah,
and things like that
yeah.
as well. So I think that there is some good aspects of a tribal workflow,
Yeah.
but I just I personally have had to warn myself against the like
I
tribal
think it's the
fantasy.
psychological aspect of coming together and working on something as a group, and like, so we do that nowadays. So like, if you work at Amazon, you do that, or
You're a
you know what I mean. Most people work with teams, kind of,
Oh,
in
well, I think
one
of
way
it
or
as like
another.
making a movie.
Yeah,
You know, there's like the crew
yeah, yeah,
who's
yeah.
all coming together for
Yeah.
this one vision.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
And everyone has their different role. Kind of,
Yeah.
Their different part of the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to take away from the value of that. I just kind of was like, I just used to think that I suffer from this delusion of like this tribal like fantasy.
No, I got you. I know what you're saying.
You know?
There's truth in everything, I think, too. Most things, I guess. But
Yeah.
so like, it's finding the balance of what you know, the extremes, I guess, because that is one extreme.
That's true.
But
The middle way. There is a little bit of a middle way, and
yeah.
right, like, you know.
And well, you know what works for the situation at hand, or like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, and I said it before. I think some things are true and unchangeable, but I think a lot of things are a little bit more circumstantial, too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the right tool for the right job,
Right,
kind of
right,
thing,
right.
You know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been preaching, but that's pretty much my gist
Yeah.
of the things that I've kind of like learned or been thinking about over the last years, especially about that happiness quest thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. A lot of people got that messed up, I think, personally,
yeah.
because I don't think it's all about just pleasure buttons and stuff.
Yeah, that's hedonism. Like
Yeah.
the hedonism is just like the pleasure seekers.
Yeah.
You know?
There's some type of fallacy towards it. Like, it doesn't have a solid foundation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had a friend, one of my good friends, we were making some really great music together, and he said to me one time, we were just having a beer, and he was somewhere, and he said he was kind of talking about his, like, kind of the way he views the world a little bit. We were talking about a little deeper stuff, kind of like how we are right now, and he said something about like, well, you know, there's these gurus that that believe that life is all about seeking pleasure as long as you're not hurting someone else.
I think maybe there is different spectrums of life and experiences in life. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe we are the type of people that aren't. I don't know. I kind of think I chose this life and mission, so like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's always in my head. Like it's work, so like work's not always fun, even if it's something you love to do
Yeah.
and you're passionate about it and you believe in it. But sometimes it's work. But
nothing great is achieved
the
without passion.
passion.
So, like, to do something great and to do what you believe in and to find meaning and stuff like that.
And when the reward is part of going through that and
Yeah.
being like, man, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
If it's easy, it's just like doing that's
Doing
the
drugs.
shortcut of doing drugs. Like you get that pleasure and the happy, but it was not deserved really.
Yeah.
So you
It's a shortcut.
Yeah.
Well, so with that situation, I kind of like I've been trying to remain silent and really think about things before I like just start spouting off. You know, I was going to start preaching to my friend about
Yeah.
something. So he said that to me and I really let it sink in, and I thought about it for a year.
Yeah.
I did. I thought about it for a year. I was
That's a
like,
good
there's some
solid time
I was
to
like
meditate on it.
I was like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with his philosophy. There's something wrong with his idea. There's something wrong here. And I thought about it for a year and I was like, you know what? Sometimes, like, okay, so here's the idea. Seeking pleasure as long as you're not hurting someone else.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, you know, what do we define as pleasure, for one? And then also sometimes the things that please us in the short term actually harm us in the long term.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Definitely.
so I was like, I don't know. I just kind of like can't subscribe to that philosophy on a personal level.
Yeah.
So.
I guess I don't knock it too much though. If they're not harming anyone else, it's just to me. I just look at it as kind of a waste almost. Though I'm like, man,
yeah, that's true.
you can. I don't know.
It does cross a different line when you start harming others, for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Oh man,
That's
it.
I need to pee.
Oh, I need to pee too. Let's
All
cut
right.
it.
Cut it.
Chop it up.
Chopped it.
Let's go.